Hey, Tim Kerley here with your Friday FAQ. Hope you've had a good week. This week's question is, what if the buyer doesn't have a credit score? This does come up quite often. And I'll tell you, I've been in the business for a long time, and I can remember the day where that wasn't such a big deal if you didn't have a credit history. But now it's very, very important to have a credit history of some sort. So if you don't have a credit score, that does not necessarily mean that the buyer cannot move forward with a home purchase. It does mean that the lender and the buyer are going to need to do some extra work to create what's called a U.S. non-traditional mortgage credit report. So what this means is verifying some other credit references that normally would not be reported on the credit report. And typically, this needs to include a rental credit reference of some sort. Now, let me stop right here too, because this is very, very important, and I see this a lot. If the buyer is currently renting let me back up and say, on the rental verification, that's going to go back for the last 12 months. The lender is going to look very closely at what the rental history has been for the last 12 months. And if the buyer is currently renting from a property manager, then the lender can fill out a rent verification form for the property manager to complete and send back to the lender. If the buyer is currently renting from an individual, then the buyer is they may still do a rental verification, but the buyer is going to need to produce the last 12 months of canceled checks. And that's why if the buyer is currently paying their rent in cash, that becomes a problem because there's no way to document that. So if you're counseling clients that might be future buyers, tell them to make sure that they pay their rent in a form that can be documented. Or writing a check to the landlord is the best way to do that. So canceled checks would be the best way to do that. They're going to need 12 months of canceled checks. Okay, back to the non-traditional credit report. Some other things that can be included in that are utilities are very helpful. Insurance, medical insurance, auto insurance, life insurance, housing, things that are not being payroll deducted, cell phone, medical bills, school tuition, childcare, things like that can be used. And there may be some other things too that might work in there according to underwriter discretion. But those things can be verified. They can be used to build this non-traditional mortgage credit report. So just know, again, it can be done. There are some extra requirements. The file is going to have some extra scrutiny because in many cases it's not going to be able to work through the automated underwriting system of each, depending on which program you're using. So anyway, hope that is helpful to you. Please feel free to reach out if you have any specific questions. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.